Oh, hello. Hello, Facebook. I just thought I'd go outside for a minute, take a look at the world. Looks pretty nice. You see my car over here. There's my car. My car that got in a wreck a few months ago. Lady ran a red light, ran into the front of my car, took the entire front bumper off, but it was entirely her fault because she ran a red light. So that's been replaced. Still in all, this is a 2015 Hyundai. Why do I have a 2015 Hyundai instead of a 2025 Hyundai or whatever car? Because I don't have any car payments. I paid this car off years ago. Yay! So I'm hanging on to it as long as I can. But although they replaced the front bumper, which made it look kind of like a new car, but the hood is part of the old car. They didn't replace the hood, and it's all rusty and needs a paint job. Also, the back of the car needs a paint job, and so in other words, this car needs a paint job. So I'm thinking about it. If I'm going to keep it, and there's a good reason to keep it, because this car doesn't have that many miles on it. You may have all heard stories about, well, if when you go to buy a car and they said it's a used car, and then the dealer says, well, this was just by an old man or an old woman, and they only drove it to the grocery store and back, and it doesn't have any miles on it because we rolled back the miles. Well, this car, which is 10 years old, only has about 10,000. It's got 60,000, I think 60,000 miles on it. Because, in fact, I took it out of the state once. I took it from Florida to North Carolina. One other time I went to Tampa on the west coast of Florida. But other than that, it's true. I've only used this car to go to the grocery store or to go to work and back. And so the mileage is low, and the car is in great shape. I've never had a car this good before. So, yeah, the car may be old, but it's still good, and that's kind of I'm kind of coming to the point of this video, because you and I, we're like cars, and it depends on how much mileage you put on the car, how long the car is going to last. Now, I know I've gotten older. Of course I have. And, my friends, many of my friends have passed away. A number of my friends. And I'm inside the house now, But like my great friend Larned just passed away last week. Totally unexpectedly. One night he said he sent me a message, said he was having chest pains, and he was going to go to the doctor for bypass surgery, he thought. But the next day he had a massive heart attack, and then Larned passed away. Now, I said that he was my best friend. I had an earlier best friend, because in life, you go through, life is long. You hope so. You hope your life is going to be long. And I had an earlier best friend, John Baxley, whom I grew up with. I went to elementary school, high school, and we were so close. And John passed away several years ago. And around that time, I met Larned, and Larned and I were comic book pals, and we began doing comics together in the Small Press Comic Show. And I'm going to be talking about that soon on my TheClassicComicsMan channel. So if you haven't been to that channel, I do have a channel. I have two channels. One is the Loathly Daddy, and the other one is the TheClassicComicsMan. Specifically, I would ask you to check out the TheClassicComicsMan channel, because I have a video coming up very shortly where I'll be talking about Larned, and I'll also be looking at comics, because I'm not about to stop. Life goes on for so many of us. I strongly believe that life goes on for my friend John and my friend Larned, only on a different plane, a heavenly plane. They're up there somewhere. Maybe they met each other. Hi, I was friends with Steve. I was friends with Steve too. Well, nice to meet you. And they're hanging out in heaven, you know. That would be cool. So, anyway, the rest of us, we go on. I mean, we have to go on. What choice do we have? Okay? Any other choice is no bueno. So, anyway, I look at myself in the mirror, you know, now, and oh, I got a haircut today. Is it spiffy? What do you think, folks? I got my haircut today. Or I look 20 years younger. What do you think? I look good, don't I? Right? Yeah, for sure. So, but I look at myself in the mirror, and I see a puffiness, certain puffiness. I see the wrinkles on the lines. I am using certain creams and things. I'm trying to reduce that, you know, to make myself look younger and more handsome than ever. The fact is, I can only make myself look so much younger. It catches up with you, man. Life catches up with you, and you can't do a darn thing about it. Well, you can. You can slow the progress, but you can't stop the progress. So, in any case, I'm working on a new video. I'll be working on a new video, and I'll be talking about some of this stuff, and I'll be reviewing some of your comics. I was going to call it the Talking Small Press Comics show. It was going to be the last episode, but now I'm thinking I'll just it'll be my own show. I'm going to go back to what I did before. Larned and I began doing the Talking Small Press Comic show over 3 years ago. I had as I said, the channel, the TheClassicComicsMan channel, where I talked about mainstream comics, I talked about classic comics, I talked about small press comics, all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to revive that show. And I may have a video out tomorrow. Just keep a lookout, folks. Anyway, looking in the mirror and seeing those lines and seeing that stuff, you just can't make it go away. You can reduce it, but you can't stop it. The progression of time is inevitable. So what are we going to do? Are we going to sit around and moan and cry about it? Or are we going to keep on doing what makes us happy? Keep on pushing ahead to the future? Well, I love small press comics. And I'm going to keep pushing ahead, folks. I ain't about to quit, or I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for myself. Shoot, what am I going to feel sorry for? I'm doing fine. Shoot, I'm collecting Social Security now. I'm 69 years old. But hey, that's money. It comes in every month, and I'm still working too, part-time. So as much as they call me in. And I'm engaged to be married to a beautiful lady, Angeline, in the Philippines. And all this stuff is coming up soon, so I have so much to live for. I do feel sad about the loss of my great friend Larned. But darn if I'm going to lay down and suffer, you know. I'm going to move ahead, and I know that that's what Larned would want. So I'm going to although the Talking Small Press Comic show is over. It's over. We have that, Larned left that legacy for all of us to look at. And there are 87 episodes on Larned Justin's YouTube channel. Just type in Larned Justin. You'll find the channel. He has many other videos as well. But all those videos are there. They're still there. Something he left for all of us. And I am so proud and honored to have been a part of that. So those videos are still there. And there's a lot of great ones. On the very first video we did together, he interviewed me. And the next to the last video that we did together, I interviewed him. In between, we did many interviews. Steve Willis, Steve Shipley, a lot of people, a lot of great people. We interviewed a lot of people, and we reviewed a lot of comics, and it was a blast. I mean, it was a great time. I looked forward to it. Larned was because Larned was more retired than me, meaning that he didn't work at all. He went out for walks his dog, and he was involved with his family and everything. But I was still having to work, and Larned would get ticked off if I couldn't make it to a show. If I said, look, I got to work, so I can't be on the show, and he would get pissed off. And he would let me know, you know. He said, I can make it. Why can't you make it? Well, Larned, I have to work. But eventually he would get over it. He would understand. What a pal. What a friend. Yeah. And the point is, he would want me to continue on. And he said so. The night before he passed away, he sent me a message, and he said, because we had planned to do an interview and on the next show, and he said, I'm having chest pains and I have to go in for bypass surgery, but go ahead and do the show. Just go ahead and do it without me. And of course, the next day I got the devastating news. So this interview is going to happen, and there will be new shows, but I'm not going to call them the Talking Small Press show. That was Larned's legacy. It was part of his legacy, of course, but it was Larned's title. So if you want to check out the Classic Comics Man show, I'll have a video on there in the next few days. I don't know really what else I could say about Larned. I do have a couple of things I could say, and I'll bring them up on that show. And I'm going to go back to reviewing your comics. But really, Larned's presence is going to be greatly missed. But we owe it to him to keep being creative and to keep producing works of art. They might not be Michelangelo or Rembrandt, but by golly, we do comics and we love what we do, and we're going to keep right on doing it. And in our own way, I think we have influence on other people. I know Larned influenced me. We are fortunate. We are children of God, and God has instilled us with certain talents, and we use those talents. We use those talents to the best of our ability, and it's instilled with us for our enjoyment, but also for the joy of creation, that we can do something that makes other people inspired or makes other people laugh, or somehow other people appreciate it, and they'll tell you so, because we're in the comic book small press. That's what we do. That's what we're all about. Okay, folks, I'll let you go. Thanks, Doreen. I appreciate that. I'll let you go, and check out my Talking Small Press Comics channel, please. Not only do I have a new show coming up, but I'm also, I have copied and will be putting the entire run of Talking Small Press Comics, the show, on my Classic Comics Man channel. So I'm copying and pasting those, and over a period of time, they're all going to be there, all 87 episodes. Also, go back to Larned's channel, because he has other videos that he did outside of what we did together. He was an enormously creative person and one heck of a great guy. And he was. my friend. See you soon, folks. Bye-bye.